What's up everybody, it's Paul and we're back today with another guitar tutorial. Today we'll be looking at the song Washed by Elevation Rhythm. This is a real fun one to play. We already started doing it at my church here in Orlando, and I bet a lot of you all will be doing it soon too. The original recording has I think 10 guitar tracks, all with a lot of intricate layers. So it could definitely feel a bit overwhelming when you're trying to take on this song. This video is going to be my best attempt to consolidate all those guitar parts and make them into clear EG1 and EG2 parts for rhythm and lead players. I'm playing the song in the original key of B at 139 beats per minute. I'll break down the tones and parts in a little bit of a tutorial for both the rhythm and the lead. And then I'll also have a playthrough straight through of the EG1 and EG2, just a little bit more prominent in the mix than what I had in the kind of cover playthrough part at the beginning. Thank you for being here watching this video. This video is a lot longer than I typically do, so be sure to check out all the chapters below if you want to skip around and get to the part that you're looking to learn. So let's go ahead and get started with the EG1 lead parts. I've got my Veritas Mini Master here today, my go-to guitar for the most part. It has Polecat pickups, which are essentially P90s. I'm going into the two Tonex units behind me, and with this guitar I'll be using the AC30 and ProSonic from Tone Shepherd. Really great and really clean Tonex captures, use them a lot. The first part of the song we'll look at is the verse, and I've got a clean tone with chorus on the Mobius and a light plate reverb on the Mercury X. With those effects on, the part goes like this. Breaking that down a little slower here on the 4th fret, D string, G string, B string, it's gonna go like this. B string I'll bring down to my index finger on the 2nd fret to here. So from the 1st to the 2nd it'll be. Then here I'll go 4th fret D string, 3rd fret G string, then I'll have the open B. Then I'm going to slide up to here on the 6th fret, 4th fret of the G string, and then the open B again. Just be like, up the speed, sounds like this. At the end of that progression, it goes into this hook that will repeat itself throughout the song. The first time I play it, I'm just going to be adding my first gain stage here with the daily driver from Chernobyl Tone. And then I'll be adding a little bit bigger reverb. I have it my Cathedral Choir preset. And what actually is in this preset is a chorus that's affecting the dry signal. So I'm actually going to take the chorus off of the Mobius and be using the one that's in the Mercury X. Slowed down, I'll take the drive off just so you hear it a little clearer. It's up here around this B triad. So again, starting up here on the 14th fret of the E string. So with the drive on, it sounds like this. And that first time you play it, you have to just think that you're going to go back to the verse part from the first settings we had. It's a little bit of a fast transition to go from that lead line back to the chorus, but that's why I like having these snapshots on my Morningstar MIDI controller, so I can just really fire everything off really fast. At the end of that second verse, we're not going to play the hook, but we'll instead play some chords. It's going to be a 2 into a 4/5, and I'll add some heavier reverb. I'll use the Riz Wide Cloud from Kenyon Reed, and then I'll have a dotted 8th going into a quarter note delay. And then just to give you a sense of what that sounds like, here's a stab with all those effects on. So the 2 is going to be this C sharp minor 7 that you've all played before. And then it's going to go into this E over F sharp, the F sharp being here. It sounds like this. So So that chord here is the 7th fret on your A string, and then barring across the 4 on the D, G, and B string. Really beautiful chord, love that chord. That takes us into the first chorus, where we'll come up here on the neck and play some inversions just with those same ambient reverb and delays. And it's a 1, 4, 6, 5 progression. So up here it sounds like this. Here's the 1 to the 4 to the 6 and then the 5. Next is verse 3, and this is the part that really stood out to me when I first heard the song. There's a really cool like call and response kind of thing between several guitars, and it's just an absolute vibe. I love it. This will work best if you have 2 guitar players on stage, a lead and rhythm player, so that's the situation I'll be talking through here. The lead is going to have this really nice lick in response to the rhythm guitar, which is just playing the EG1 parts that we did in the first 2 verses. I'll use the same settings I had from the first 2 verses with that chorus and then a short plate reverb. And there's 3 licks that you're going to want to remember. The first one goes like this. It's essentially the exact same thing we were doing in the first verses, but the timing of it's just a little bit different. So again, second one I think is the most challenging lick in this verse. Up to speed, it sounds like this. Breaking it down slowly, you're in this triad right here. But I'll have my index finger ready to pull off and like bar here on the 4th fret. So it's going to be sliding up. And if you have that open B string, totally okay. Sliding down. The third part will be down here in this shape. I'm going to hammer on to the 4th fret of the B string. Then I'm going to add on an upstroke the 2nd fret of the E string. So slowed down, it goes like this. That's the first part of the 3rd little lick in that verse, and then the last part here is just going to slide up. On those notes. So after the first time you play those 3 licks, you'll actually play the same hook that we did in the first verses. Again, has the Cathedral Choir preset here on my Mercury X, and then my first gain overdrive sounds like this. We'll go back in and just play the same 3 licks that we did, but instead of doing that hook, we'll just play the chords, the 2 to that 4/5 like we did the first time through. You got the 2 to the 4/5. Next we'll go into chorus 2, which is a really fun part for lead guitar. Here I'm going to be using my 3rd gain stage, which is the Aspen from Case Study, and then I'll have a filter effect, this wah, auto wah filter on the Mobius. I've got a 1/8 note delay on the LVX, and then I've got a short prism preset that I created on Mercury X. Little stab here so you can hear what that sounds like. I'll be on my bridge pickup, and the part itself goes like this. Break that down a little slower. We'll start here on the 14th fret of the D string, and then slide down to the 13th fret, same string. Then we'll play the 12th fret on the B string. Then I'm going to hammer on and pull off. So then I'll be adding that little hook that we've done before. But the last time I'll just slide up to the, what's that, the 16th fret, the B. And we'll let that ring out going into the bridge. The first time through the bridge, I'm actually going to be sitting out completely. And honestly, this is probably one of the most important things you can learn as a worship guitar player, just knowing when not to play. A lot of times we feel like we have to be playing at every single moment, but really sometimes the song just needs us to sit back and be silent. And when we have that restraint, it makes our entrance way more impactful and it really builds the song when we do come in. That said, we'll come in on the second bridge with a very simple line, and this line is going to repeat through all of the bridges and refrains. I'll be on my first gain stage, daily driver, and then I'm going to add a quarter note delay with some added modulation and pitch effects, and my favorite reverb preset from Kenyon Reed, the Riz Haze. This part is going to be up here at the B with this like D shape and with all the effects on. I'll be on my middle pickup selection. Sounds like this. To slow that down for y'all, it's gonna go like this. Next up, we've got the outro refrains. And in the original recording, the lead guitar is pretty much doing the verse 3 and verse 4 parts through the refrain both times. In this video, I chose to make it a little bit different, and I kind of took those parts and added some more gain, make it more of like a lead part per se. So I'll have the second stage drive on, but I'll add a boost from the daily driver, and then I'm going to have a dotted eighth going into a regular eighth note delay. And then I've got my short prism reverb on, which is a pretty high mix, but short decay. And then just a simple chorus on the Mobius. And those parts go like this. And last time through the refrain, I'll switch it up to match what the saxophone track is doing in the original recording. I imagine a lot of churches probably won't include the saxophone in the track, but either way, it's a part that fits the song perfectly, and it's really easy and really fun to play. My settings are exactly the same as that last part we just did, and up to speed with all the effects on. Sounds like this. Slowed down without the drive on, just so you can hear it better. I'm gonna slide up into it. And then it's gonna end on the same hook that was featured earlier, but just with all the effects on. Sounds like this. So there you go. That's a quick little tutorial of the EG1 parts on this song. Please like and subscribe to my channel if you found this content helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comments. And if there's enough interest, I will make tabs available if you're into that kind of thing. But for now, here's a playthrough of the EG1 part straight through. Enjoy. The rhythm guitar parts on this song are fairly straightforward. Let's start out with an overview of the tones I'll be using here. I've got this Michael Kelly Strat. Right now it's mainly a practice guitar for me, but when I heard the song, I heard that it was a very Strat sound, so I wanted to have that iconic fourth position. So here we are, made it into the video. It feels great to play. Not a huge fan of the stock pickups here. Hope to upgrade them someday soon, but we'll roll with it. On this guitar, I'll be using some darker, cleaner captures on the tone necks. These are the twin plex and JMI captures from Tone Factor. My clean tone will sound like this on the fourth position. Add on the compressor. Just gives it that squash. Secret preamp will give me some of that volume back and add some harmonic character to it. So that's the bass tone right there. For the verses, I'm going to use a chorus on the Mobius and then the RV5 Mercury X preset from Jake Fauber, also known as Teddy Tones. Really great sounds here. The verse part is simple, but since this is almost identical to what the lead guitar is going to be doing, it's going to be really important to keep it tight and in unison with that guitar so everything stays locked in. With all the effects on, the first verse part is going to go something like this. Just playing these two note parts here. Then one thing to note, on the end of that section, your chord chart most likely says that it's a 2-5-1. That is correct in the sense that the piano and bass are holding down that F sharp, but similarly to how it was on the lead guitar, I'm actually going to be playing a voicing of the 4 chord instead of the 5. Since the bass and piano are already handling the root F sharp on that 5 chord, the guitar doesn't need to double it. We can focus just on adding color, so we'll use the 4 chord, which ends up resolving nicely when we go to the chorus. So again, it's going to be a 2 to that 4 over the 5. And that will lead us into our next section, which is chorus 1. A very simple part here. We'll just be ringing out some diamond chords. I'll add a little bit more reverb mix with my RV52 preset from Jake Fauber. And then I've got a dotted eighth on the L cap, and then keeping the chorus on as well in that first chorus. All the effects just kind of sound like this. That chorus starts here on the 1, to the 4, the 6, and then the 5. After that, we go into the next set of verses, and we'll switch it up a bit from what we did in the first 2 verses, and we'll actually be playing what EG1 was playing on the first 2 verses here in verses 3 and 4. I'll go back to what I had in the verses with the chorus, no delay, and the RV5-1 preset. Here's what the part is, starting here on the 4th fret. To the 4, then it would repeat and then go into the next part, which is going to be chorus 2. It'll be the same 1-4-6-5 progression. I'll add on my second gain stage, and then I'll also throw on a little bit more delay and reverb, and then I'll also have my wide detune preset on the Mobius just to give it a little bit of added width. And in that chorus, I'll just strum along a little bit to keep some rhythm, and it goes something like this. We'll resolve on the 1. After that, we'll transition into the bridge, and the rhythm guitar will be out the first 2 times through the bridges. And this progression will be a 1-4-6-4 progression. I'll still be on my second gain stage, and then I'm gonna add a quarter note delay. So I'll be running the dotted eighth into a quarter note with some added reverb, and then also just no added modulation on the Mobius. And that together just sounds like this. We'll come in the third time through the bridge, and I'll just be strumming a little bit to keep some rhythm. And it goes like this on the 1, the 4, the 6, the 4, and then the next time through it's going to be the same chords, but we'll just be holding diamonds instead of strumming. And on this one I'll switch from my second gain stage to my third gain stage, which is going to be the Aspen overdrive here from Case Study. And then again, it's just ringing up diamonds on the 1, 4, 6, and then back to the 4. After that bridge with the diamonds, we go into the refrains, and I've changed it up a little bit here from the original parts. There's a nice little harmony that you can hear in the acoustic tracks and then some of the keys tracks. So I decided to actually kind of incorporate that into the electric parts. They're not doing it in any of the 10 electric stems from the original, but I think it can add a nice touch. Either the EG2 player or the EG1 player could be doing this. What it is essentially is the third above the main part. So the lead player is right here. And I'm going to be playing the third, but down an octave. So it'll be right here. It'll be on my third gain stage, same settings as I had when we were doing the bridges, but with all of the effects and drive on, it sounds like this. The final section of the song is going to be the outro refrains. And on this, I've chosen to do some high gain power chords, just trying to make the ending as huge as possible. I'll still be on my third gain stage, but I'll go to a lighter reverb and I'll take off that quarter note delay. And again, no modulation on the Mobius. Those effects just sound like this. And then for that part, it's a 1/3, just these two notes, to the 4, to the 5, the 6. Up to speed, it goes like this. And just ending on the 1. And there you have it. This has been my interpretation of the electric guitar parts for Washed by Elevation Rhythm. Thank you all so much for making it this far. Your support means a lot. And I hope that this video is a great starting point, at least when you are learning the song to play in your churches. As always, please let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Like and subscribe to this channel to see more content like this, and hope to see you all soon.